Welcome. Persistence pays off at times. The smartest person or the hardest worker may not always be the one that succeeds. Sometimes the people who simply will not accept no for answer but will use rejection to spur better approaches will win out in the end, as they exhaust every angle and opportunity. David Ellison and his Paramount Skydance company has been very persistent lately in the market, acquiring companies to grow the Paramount brand back to its glory days, successfully brought Viacom CBS into the fold. And now he can say he added Warner, who reversed course to accept their offer, as Netflix refused to increase their bid. Netflix will reportedly still receive their buyout fee, paid by Paramount Skydance, but Paramount Skydance will get the entire Warner business, not just the HBO Max streaming service. This will help bolster them in both the studio production market and the broadcast and streaming markets. Netflix is still the king of streaming, but Paramount will now be a credible top 5 participant, or top 4, depending on the subscriber count. They also will close the gap with Disney in the race for the top of the studio production market, so it could help make them a significant Hollywood brand or conglomerate of brands. Reportedly, the merger will see the studios remain separate standalone entities, Warner Brothers and Paramount Pictures. Each is expected to have individual creative and will produce 15 movies a year, but the streaming services will be combined. They will have quite the combination of content and brands under one umbrella. Paramount showed that they possess the right touch to create hit show after hit show. Tulsa King, Landman, and others are high-rated shows with strong followings. Now, they have HBO, which has produced many series that are generational, like The Sopranos, The Game of Thrones, and Entourage. The Netflix combination would have been obviously troubling, given the ranking of the two entities combined. As we have discussed before, it would have created a dominant streaming service, which Netflix already is by itself, and it would have potentially taken one of the leading studios out of the movie theater distribution business. Initially, I was skeptical of this alternative as well. First, I was skeptical of whether the Ellisons could pull this off because of how their initial offer seemed to be far off and somewhat missing the point. But they did a great job in understanding their stance on the value of the remaining assets was not helpful and sweetening the deal to provide value to push them over the Netflix. Also, I thought there may be challenges to the markets as well. But I think, if reports are true, keeping the studios separate and maintaining their existing production rates is more stable than I initially expected. So, the more I view the new recent deal, it seems more appealing now that it has come to fruition. From a regulatory perspective, this combination should be less troubling as there is no dominant entity. There will be concerns with the funding structure and where the money is coming from. Apparently the debt could be a concern, but I do not think it is the disaster that the far left is claiming every merger to be. The potential job loss is a concern, but those positions would be at risk if companies remained separate and still pursued cost-cutting. Or if Warner folded completely or adapted artificial intelligence like some companies are doing to a great deal. Keeping both studios standalone businesses should reduce some level of job loss, and may result in growth in the future. Some of the political opposition may be a result not so much by the actual merger, but what may happen if CNN actually has to move away from fringe news coverage to actual journalism. If they have to get away from being a progressive platform to be a news organization again, then Democrats may actually have to give answers to the public. We will have to wait and see what happens, but it does appear like a better outcome with less challenges than Netflix and is providing actual value to shareholders and potentially fans. There is a risk in possible price increases. I would suggest that they hold prices steady and transfer people into product and then reevaluate pricing tiers later. But there is a great value and a better product than either option had separately, and the combined price could be a savings over purchasing each one separately. The key lesson is that persistence can pay off, and those that may be initially negatively impacted may become sparks of competition that rises when these individuals decide to venture out on their own and choose entrepreneurship. We forget that many times these hyped-up mergers do not consolidate the market in the long haul, just in the moment. The important aspect from a policy perspective is to make sure that the larger players do not have the ability to create barriers to entry, or completely write the regulatory playbook. Allow for open competition and ease of entrepreneurship. Markets consolidate at times, which is why there is that famous rule of 3. But it will be entrepreneurs and investors that will help spark competition when there is market growth or new sectors that sprout out. The importance is to help the innovators that want to fill this space from a grassroots perspective have a fighting chance.